Good evening, everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic day. My name is Latricia Pugh Griffin with Pugh Financial Coaching, and I'm excited to share with you your budget preparation for November 2025. So, if you are catching this live, I encourage you to share this with your friends and family so that they can see this information as well. And if you're catching this on a replay, put replay in the comments. I would love to speak to you as we talk about today's topic, which is a budget overview, like I said, and how to improve monthly on your budget. And so these are the two topics that we'll be discussing tonight. And so I hope that you are ready for it. And if it is helpful to you, I encourage you to put in the comments the things that resonate with you, as well as the things that you may have questions on, because I will answer a few questions at the end if you place it in the chat. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And first, I will open up with a word of prayer. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your many blessings, for covering and keeping us, God. Lord, I just ask that you will enter into this moment in time as we discuss preparations for November. Lord, I just ask that you will give every person who is listening to this live or on a replay, Lord, the guidance that they need for the coming months, God. And I just thank you, Lord, for this ability to be before your people, Lord. We just love you. We thank you for all the things that you're doing, Lord, and for where the things that we don't see, Lord, be the provider, God. We love you and we adore you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So, like I said, we are discussing today how to prepare for your budget. And why is this so important? It's important for us to have this conversation because each month is different. And so we want to have the right mindset and as we approach the month. And so just a little bit about PUFC, and I'll share this briefly, then we'll get straight into the topic. It's important to understand that my mission is to help Christians align their faith and finances so they can stop the money stress, walk in unity, build a strong foundation of life, of freedom, and generosity. So I want to help you to be peace. Or to have peace when it comes to your finances. And a lot of this happens by us taking the time to reflect on the things that are happening, that's happening in our lives. And so this will allow us to be prepared for the month ahead. And the way we do this, I use what I call is the PFC system. It's a 4S system. And this 4S system allows us to think about what's coming ahead, what's coming ahead. And what's coming ahead is allowing us to think about our startup, our setup, our system, and our stewardship. And so these four S's, we always have to start with our why. Like it's not enough to just say, I want to do well with my money. We have to envision what this will provide for our family. We have to envision what this will do for our day-to-day living. What will this do for us 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? And by putting that into perspective, it will help us, right? It will help us to see, okay, this is beneficial. This is helpful for my future. The setup is our self-awareness. You have to know where you are today in order to know what that gap is. And so by knowing the gap, it will help us to prepare us for our system, which is our plan, which is what we'll be focusing on today, is the plan piece of our finances. And then lastly, the ownership. This is us actually doing the work that's necessary for us to complete our goals. And so when we're having this conversation of with our startup, our setup, and now we're going into the system, the plan, we want to talk about what are these four steps of budgeting? These four steps of budgeting. And so we're having this conversation of the four steps that we're going to do for budgeting. Now I want to make this very clear. It doesn't matter if you have $50, $5,000, $50,000, $500,000. All of us have these four things that I'm about to discuss about budget. And so if you are ready, put a one in the chat, and this will give us a clear picture of how we can be prepared for the month ahead, how we can be prepared for the month ahead. And so the first thing when it comes to our budget, you have to know this first. You have to know your income. Step one is that it's based off of your income. This is the guiding light for everything that we do, because we can have a lot of dreams, we can have a lot of desires for what we want to achieve. But if you don't know how much you're bringing in, it's really hard for us to get an indication for what's needed for our finances. This is also important because it helps you to figure out your rhythm. So, yes, I also, let me make this point that I encourage everyone to do a monthly budget, but each pay period has its own set of assignments. And so by doing a monthly budget, this gives you an overall view, but reviewing it each pay period, by going through the process of looking at each pay period, you are putting yourself in position to really understand the ebbs and flows of what's happening with your finances. So the step one is understand that it's based off of your income, and you need to know your frequency of pay. So if it's monthly, then you're going to have 1 month of budget. But if you're paid weekly, then it should be four different items that are different columns rather, that you're deciding like what will I need to spend for the month, and then bi-weekly, so forth and so on, right? So every time you're paid, you are going through the process of assigning what you are spending for that particular pay period. So number one is based off of a budget. So after we know our minimum pay or our average pay, then the next thing that we want to do is look at completing this before payday. Completing this before payday. The last thing we want to do is wait until the last minute to complete our budget. It's so important for us to take the time to look at our budget before November 1st hits. So you can actually think about all the things that are happening throughout the month. And we'll talk about that in step three. But we complete it before payday because I know what payday is like. When payday comes, we are more likely to make impulse purchases if there is not a plan. We are more likely to make impulse purchases if there is not a plan, and think that just because this number is sitting in our bank account, that means that we can use it for anything, right? So we want to make sure that we complete it before payday. Step three. Step three. So now we know this is the amount that we're going to use because, like I said, it's based off of your income. Number two, we've decided that we're going to complete it before payday. So we have less impulse purchases on payday. And then step three, now we're getting into the expenses. The expenses. And so step three is knowing what bills are due. Step three is knowing what bills or what occasional bills are due, because you may have the monthly expenses like your mortgage, your rent, power bill, water bill, gas bill, cable bill, internet, like all those things, like they're consistent. And I tell my clients all the time, most people do pretty well at paying their bills because it has a limit, or rather an amount that's provided to them, and it's a due date attached to it. It's a flat amount. But where people struggle is the things that we use multiple times throughout the month. The groceries, the gas, the eating out, the shopping. Those are the things that we don't have necessarily the best grip on. And so we want to take the time to really think about all the things that we are truly responsible for. If you're walking through the day, how many items are you picking up a day? How many things are you doing that's actually costing money? Is that included in your budget? That's a question that you should ask yourself. And if it's not included in the budget, then how are you paying for it? You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're doing this maneuvering because you haven't taken time to really think about my life, right? And so we want to make sure that we're thinking about all the things. And this is where our calendar plays a role. Our calendar plays a role because it allows us to think about what's actually happening this week. What's actually happening this month? The month of November. We are kicking off the holiday season. And yes, I know that right now a lot of people are struggling, especially if you've been impacted by the shutdown. But it's not going to be just them. It's going to be everybody. If if the grocery prices continue to rise and all these different things, you need to have a plan in place. If the grocery prices continue to rise, you need to have a plan in place. What's going to be the priority? And so by taking your calendar out, you're actually going through the process of what's going on week one, what's going on week two, what children's activities are happening, what family events are happening, what are the things that I will need to take care of? Are we going to have a potluck at work? What are the things that are going on in our lives that we need to account for that's going to cost money? And by having those lists all in the same place, you are positioning yourself in order to have an accurate budget. Because we want to have an accurate budget. We don't want a pretty budget. We want an accurate budget. What's the difference? Pretty is you having a figment of your imagination of what you would hope it to be. Accurate is your reality, right? So we want to be truthful about the things that are happening in our lives. So now we know that our budget is based off our income. Now we know we want to do this before our pay period, so we have time to think about it. Now we know that we have a list of our expenses in our calendar and we're taking into account the things that are going on in our lives. Now it's time for you to set up your budget. And so for step four, we want to create a zero-based budget and we also want to track our expenses. Okay, again, we want to set up a zero-based budget and track our expenses. And when we do this, we give ourselves the time to think about all the things that are going on and also seeing what's actually happening with our finances. And so, what I want to share with you is that a zero-based budget will allow you to actually see what expenses are needed as you subtract as you go. And so, what I want to share with you really quickly is that we want to make sure that we have this zero-based budget in place, this zero-based budget in place. And so, again, now we're having this conversation of okay, it's not just me looking at my expenses from a I think I have enough to knowing that I have enough or knowing where my shortfall may be right now. And so what does that look like? And so the zero-based budget will allow you to see where the money runs out. It will allow you to see when the money runs out. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you an example of what the zero-based budget looks like. And so this zero-based budget is pretty straightforward and it allows you to just literally just track your expenses as you pay everything off. Okay? And so it looks just like this. 1 second, and here we go. All right. So in this example, you see the number of expenses, and actually, I'm going to make this bigger for you all so that way it looks a little bit better. All right. So in the example, you see you have your mortgage, written mortgage, which is $1,000. You start off with $3,500. After you pay your written mortgage of $1,000, you have $2,500 left. Your power bill is $200, and there's $2,300 left after that. And then as you are literally going through your expenses, you're actually subtracting it. Now, like I said, you want to be able to see how much this is costing you. You want to be able to see the impact that it's having on your budget because it really will make it clear either I don't have enough, I do have enough, I didn't realize that I was spending this much on this, I didn't realize I was spending this money on that. but you really want to have a clear picture of where everything is going. You can do this on a piece of paper, you can do it on a spreadsheet, it doesn't matter. But going through the process of actually writing out all the expenses, all of your bills, and what's going on throughout the month will give you a clear picture of your finances. And then the last step, all right, so we've talked about it. So let's go back through the steps again. Step one, we want to make sure that it's based on our income. Step two, we want to make sure that we are completing this before payday. So we're actually able to see, what is going on and taking that time to think. Step three, we're pulling out our expenses. We're keeping it in the same place. We're pulling out our calendar to see how all this works. And then lastly, we are doing the zero-based budget and we're tracking our expenses. And so this is us repeating the process. Now, like I said, it's important to understand that it doesn't matter how much money you make, the process is still the same. Even a millionaire is going through the process of how much do I have? What do I have to work with? What are my responsibilities for this month, this quarter, this year? They're going through the exact same process. And so taking the time of doing your stewardship is actually a $1 million habit. Taking the time to actually say, what can I actually avoid, is actually thinking like a wealthy person, not a poor person, because God challenges us to be a good steward. And so, stewardship, right? Stewardship is us going through the process of understanding that we want to make sure that we are utilizing the resources and utilizing the resources that God has provided to us. And all of this is for the glory of God. So I believe that when we are good stewards of our finances and we're able to take care of our family, when we're able to give generously, when we are able to give our children experiences, when we are able to be at peace in our home, God is pleased with that. So the work that we're doing to become better stewards, the work that we're doing to get better at our finances, God is pleased with that process. And so, again, the plan is pretty. The plan may have colors, the plan may be in perfect shape, and it's all those different things. But none of this matters unless you are challenging yourself to improve on a daily basis, improve on a monthly basis. And so I want to share with you that as we talked about these things, I'm telling you the things that I know because I struggled with doing the budget. I struggled with staying on track with my budget. I struggled with understanding how things ebbed and flowed in my family when I was single, and then it was a different venture when you're bringing two people together, and now we're learning how to do this together. Like that is very challenging. But I will tell you that the work is worth it. So going from a place where we have our not we I have $500 in overdraft fees. Going from a place where I got a credit card probably sooner than I should have. I didn't have a credit card in college, but I got it too early in adulthood and having to deal with those consequences of not being able to pay my credit card off the way I would like to, having to deal with those challenges, having to deal with the challenges of helping friends when I shouldn't have, and having to deal with those challenges, or helping family members, helping them out when I shouldn't have because I needed to make sure that my home was taken care of. So I've made the mistakes. I've done all the things that could potentially impact their finances. But like I said, you can either learn from it or you can lull in it. You can learn from it or you can lull in it. And so my goal is that if I make a mistake, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna learn. Like I'm not going to stay dwelling about of these things that have happened in the past, you have to find a way to move forward. So it may be some of you who have made mistakes in the past in regards to your finances. I want to let you know that God is okay with starting with right where you are. You just have to take that step to improve on a daily basis and on a monthly basis. So there are three ways that I want you to watch out for or monitor and observe over the next month. Three ways that I want you to observe, all right? So put three in the chat. Three ways that I want you to observe the next month. And those three ways that I want you to observe, the first thing I want you to look at are your patterns. Your patterns. What are you learning about your spending habits? What emotional state are you in? What happens at particular times of the month? What patterns are you noticing? When do you feel like you make the worst decisions? When do you feel like you make the best decisions? You should be a scholar on how you spend your money. You should be a scholar. So take the time to learn about yourself and the things that you do, because from there, you can learn how to adapt when the next month comes. So we want to make sure that we are observing our patterns. The next thing we want to observe is the people. How are people influencing your decisions? How are people having involvement with your financial choices? Are you having open lines of communication with your spouse, with your family about the decisions that are being made? What are you doing when it comes to your finances related to that? And so we're thinking about the patterns, we're thinking about the people, because the majority of our financial decisions are decisions that are made because of the people in our lives. We're either making decisions to make someone's life better. We're making decisions because we don't want to fool with them anymore. We're making decisions because we want to be around people. So all these things are impacting our lives. So yes, we do need to think about our relationships with money when it comes to people and how that is impacting our decisions. So first, like I said, we're thinking about the patterns, the things that are happening. What are you noticing about your finances? And then we're looking at the people. And then the last P that I want you to pay attention to, how are you participating? How are you participating? Because in order to grow in your stewardship, you have to be an active participant. You can't just sit back and just think like, you know what, this is just going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. You know what? I have done this budget. I've put it on the paper. I've done the spreadsheet. I've put it in my notebook. I put it in the tablet. Am I actively looking at my finances? Or am I doing it once and never coming back to it again? Because I tell you that the people who are improving the most in their finances are the ones who are being more intentional about their decisions. The people who are improving in their finances are actually paying attention and adjusting and adapting when they make a mistake. The people who are improving in their finances are able to forget the past. And when I say forget the past, they're able to forgive themselves so they can move forward. And so, are you an active participant or are you avoiding everything? Are you ignoring everything? And so, with that being said, like I said, either you are having good patterns or negative patterns, or good or bad, positive or negative, however you want to say it. Either you are having good influence from people or bad influence from people. And you get to decide how that's going to work for you and how that's going to impact your budget for the next month. And then lastly, you have to participate in the process. And so, yes, I'm going to give you this reminder. Like I said, it is important for you to do the budget. It's extremely important for you to do the budget. But if you're not willing to participate in the process in between budgets to make sure that it lasts, in the same way we are born one day and we die the next, but the impact on your life is that of the dash. The same thing applies to your budget. What you do at the start what you do at the end of the start of the next budget period, like that's great. I'm glad that you put it on paper, but it's everything in between that decides what happens in the future, what type of life that you live. And so, like I said, for me, like it's important for us to go through this process of understanding our finances because I truly believe that it's not just our bills, it's not just us looking at our income, it is our life. Your life is your budget, and your budget is your life. And so you have to take the time to see how am I including my life in my budget? Or is the only thing that I'm thinking about is my bills? Because I promise you there are so many more important things that are happening in your lives right now that you may not be including in your budget that will make your life better if you actually took the time to say, how can I invest in my family? How can I invest into my children? How can I invest into my career? How can I invest into my day-to-day life? Taking the time to invest in my health. What am I spending on my groceries? What am I spending on clothes? Do I need more clothes? Taking the time to really consider the quality of your life when it comes to your finances. And so I understand that this may be challenging for people to really go through this process. And so this is why I created the community. This is why I created PLC Stewardship, because I know that it is really hard for you to figure this out on your own. And so I want to invite you to my community so you can be in spaces like this where we're sharing, we're discussing our finances, where we're discussing how we're going to grow so that you can actually reach your goals. And so, if you would like to be a part of this community, the information is in the description. I'll also drop it in the comments. Just visit pfc.com/services and you can sign up today for free for POC stewardship. And if you would like to have more personal help, then you can sign up for individual or group coaching. And so I pray that you all have a great day. I really want you to grow, and I am praying for everyone that's impacted currently by the government shutdown. My encouragement to you right now is to stay lean. My encouragement to you right now is to prioritize your family like your true needs. What do you need? Anything that's unnecessary, we want to eliminate it. We want to trim the fat because all you really need is is truly like your family, right? That's the most important thing. Trim the fat, make sure that we can stretch those dollars as long as we can because we really don't know how long this is going to last. Talk to your bank early. Talk to your credit card companies early. Don't wait until they are begging you, calling you, saying, when are you going to pay this? When are you going to pay that? Be proactive. And so you may be surprised at the opportunities that you may have by actually being proactive in the process. And like I said, if you want to take the time to talk this out with someone, I'm available to you. I offer free consultations just to talk about your current goals right now. And so that's at no cost, no requirement to sign up. I just want to be of a service because I know that there are a lot of people who are hurting right now. And so what I will do is I will be sure, like I said, the information is listed in the description and you can sign up for any of my services today. But this is available to you. It's truly been a blessing to talk with you all this evening. I pray if it's helpful. If you found something helpful to you, all I ask is that you share this with your family members. And most importantly, I want you to implement the process. Implement the process because it's not enough to just take this information. We want to make sure that we are applying it. So, over the next few days, take the time to organize your expenses. Over the next few days, pull out your calendar and think about what's going on in the next few weeks. Over the next few days, have the conversation with your spouse and family. If you are, in particular, if you're going through the shutdown or if you're without a job, if you lost your job, layoffs, I saw that a company laid off some of their employees today. Be proactive and have the conversations. What are our priorities right now? And line that up so that you aren't so you can allow these funds to last, allow your money to last as long as possible. And be proactive and complete your budget before October 27th. By October 27th, I apologize, by October 27th, so that you are ahead of the game and you can have a strong November. You do not have to be suffering like everyone else. You don't have to suffer at all. You want to allow yourself to put yourself in a position to actually know what your needs are. Pray to God, ask for the provision, look for the resources that are available in your community so that you can have more peace during the storm. So that is my prayer for you. Continue to have an amazing night. And like I said, if you would like to sign up for PLC stewardship, the information is in the description, as well as if you would like to sign up for a free consultation. My name is Latricia Pugh Griffin. I'm a financial coach, and I help Christians improve their relationship with God and money so they can live with peace and freedom. Have a blessed night, and I will talk to you all soon.